You've just turned 66. You wake up one morning and realize there's no alarm clock waiting for you. No rush to get ready. No commute. No deadlines. For a moment, it feels like freedom. Then you sit down with a financial advisor. They open your accounts, scroll quietly, pause, and then say something that changes the way you see your entire life. This is what you have saved. You look at the number on the screen, and your chest tightens. Decades of work, early mornings, late nights, missed family dinners, stress you push through. All of that is now represented by one number. And suddenly you're doing math in your head that you never wanted to do. How long can this last? Can I afford to stay where I live? What happens if my health changes? What happens when this money runs out? This isn't a rare story. This is the normal story. Most people don't enter retirement feeling safe. They enter retirement feeling exposed. The scariest part, no one warned them when there was still time to change the ending. We grow up believing that if we work hard, stay loyal to our jobs, and do the right things, retirement will somehow take care of itself. But retirement doesn't take care of itself. It only reflects the habits we practiced for decades. Today, I want to show you the reality most people never see. How much people actually have saved when they stop working. Why the numbers are worse than they sound. And what separates the people who retire with peace of mind from the people who spend retirement quietly stressed about money. Some of what you're about to hear may feel uncomfortable. That's okay. Comfort rarely changes outcomes. Awareness does. Let's start with a hard truth. The average person doesn't retire wealthy. They retire just barely managing. A small group retires comfortably. A tiny group retires rich. And the majority retire hoping nothing goes wrong. Most people imagine retirement as a reward, a long vacation at the end of a long career. In reality, for many people, retirement becomes a financial survival phase. They are not starving, but they are constantly calculating. Can I afford this repair? Can I go to this wedding? Can I help my kids? Can I handle one bad month? This constant mental math becomes the background noise of their lives. Here's where things get uncomfortable. Most people didn't fail because they were irresponsible. They failed because they followed the default path. They delayed saving. They trusted that they would catch up later. They let lifestyle slowly expand. They treated retirement like a distant problem. The future felt far away. The present felt urgent. And the present always won. Let's talk about where things usually go wrong. The first problem is waiting to start. Time is the most powerful financial tool anyone has. Not income, not talent, time. Money invested early grows in a way that feels almost unfair. Two people can invest the same total amount, but the one who starts earlier ends with dramatically more. Yet most people don't start early. Your 20s disappear into trying to feel stable. Your 30s disappear into building a lifestyle. Your 40s disappear into responsibilities. By the time saving feels urgent, time is already working against you. The second problem is inconsistency. Many people start saving, then stop, then start again, then pause again. Life gets busy. Kids happen. Expenses rise. Emergencies show up. Saving becomes optional. And optional things are the first to disappear. The third problem is thinking you'll fix it later. People assume their future selves will be richer, more disciplined, more focused. But future you inherits the habits of present you. If saving feels hard now, it won't magically feel easy later. The fourth problem is treating retirement accounts like emergency money. People change jobs, cash out small balances, use retirement money to solve short-term problems. It feels harmless in the moment, but it silently destroys long-term security. The fifth problem is being too safe with investments. People are afraid of market drops, so they keep money in safe options that barely grow. They protect themselves from short-term discomfort and unknowingly create long-term risk. Low growth over decades is one of the biggest hidden retirement killers. Now let's talk about the people who retire comfortably. They aren't superheroes. They aren't necessarily high earners. They just behave differently. They automate saving. Money moves into investments before they see it. They build their lifestyle around what's left. They increase contributions slowly. Small increases that barely hurt, but compound massively over time. They stay invested. They don't panic during downturns. They understand that volatility is the price of long-term growth. They manage debt. They avoid carrying heavy payments into retirement. They protect future freedom by limiting future obligations. They plan for health costs. They assume healthcare will be expensive, and they prepare for it instead of hoping it won't be. Here's what retirement actually looks like for many people. It's not poverty, it's pressure. Every dollar has a job. There's no buffer, no flexibility, no room for surprise. One broken appliance, one medical bill, one family emergency, and suddenly the budget collapses. They don't feel poor. They feel trapped. And the worst part, this stress could have been avoided with small, boring habits repeated over time. Not dramatic sacrifices, not extreme frugality, just consistency. Most people don't lose their future to one bad decision. They lose it to thousands of small, normal decisions. The daily coffee, the frequent upgrades, the lifestyle inflation, the delayed saving. None of these choices feel dangerous alone. Together, they decide the quality of your future. Here's the powerful part. The math works in your favor if you start changing now. Even small improvements compound into meaningful differences. Saving a little more, starting a little earlier, staying consistent a little longer. These aren't motivational phrases. They are mathematical facts. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. There are 3 phases of regret people experience. The first phase is not thinking about retirement at all. The second phase is realizing you're behind, but feeling stuck. The third phase is wishing you had taken action when it still felt optional. The best time to take action was years ago. The second best time is today. No matter your age, no matter your income, small changes still change outcomes. If you're young, your advantage is time. Don't waste it. If you're mid-career, your advantage is income stability. Use it. If you're closer to retirement, your advantage is awareness. Make strategic, realistic choices. Retirement isn't a moment. It's the result of decades of behavior. You don't wake up one day and arrive financially secure. You slowly build the conditions for security. The scary numbers people face in retirement. They didn't appear overnight. They were built quietly, through delay, through comfort, through inaction. And the opposite is also true. Security is built quietly, through boring habits, through consistency, through choosing future peace over present convenience. You don't have to accept the default outcome. The default path leads to constant financial pressure in old age. You can choose a different path, one small decision at a time. The real question isn't, how much do most people retire with? The real question is, are you willing to behave differently than most people, so you don't end up where most people do? Because retirement doesn't punish you for bad intentions. It only reflects your patterns, and patterns can be changed. Starting now, let me slow this down and make it real for you. When people hear numbers about retirement, their brain disconnects. It feels abstract, like a problem for someone else. But retirement isn't a future problem. It's a delayed consequence. Every choice you make today is quietly voting for the lifestyle you'll have later. Not in a dramatic way, in a subtle, invisible way. You don't feel the impact when you skip saving this month. You don't feel the impact when you delay starting next year. You don't feel the impact when you spend instead of invest. You only feel it decades later, when the math stops being theoretical and becomes your daily reality. This is why so many people are shocked at retirement. They didn't feel themselves making bad choices. They felt themselves making normal choices. Normal spending, normal upgrades, normal lifestyle growth, normal procrastination. Normal behavior leads to a normal outcome. And the normal outcome is financial tension in retirement. Let's talk about the illusion people live under. Most people assume their income will keep rising forever. They assume their expenses will stabilize. They assume something will work out. But income doesn't rise forever. Expenses don't magically flatten. And nothing works out without deliberate action. Life gets more expensive. Health gets more fragile. Energy gets lower. Options shrink. If you don't build financial space early, you lose personal space later. There's another illusion people fall for. They think retirement planning is about being good with money. It's not. It's about being good with behavior. You can know everything about investing and still fail if you don't act consistently. You can have simple knowledge and succeed if you build automatic systems. This is why automation beats motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Automation runs quietly in the background. The people who retire comfortably didn't rely on willpower. They relied on systems. Money moved into savings before they could spend it. Investments happened whether they felt like it or not. They designed their life to protect their future self. Most people do the opposite. They design their life for present comfort and hope the future self figures it out. Here's something most people don't realize. You don't need to sacrifice happiness to save for retirement. You need to sacrifice convenience. Happiness doesn't come from constant upgrades. It comes from stability, from choice, from not being financially cornered. The pain of saving is temporary. The pain of being unprepared is permanent. Now let's talk about what actually creates a feeling of safety in retirement. It's not just money. It's flexibility, the ability to handle a surprise, the ability to say yes to something meaningful, the ability to say no to things that drain you. Financial breathing room creates emotional breathing room. When people retire with very little, they don't just lose money. They lose choices. They can't choose where to live. They can't choose how to spend their time. They can't choose how to support family. They react to circumstances instead of shaping them. And that's exhausting. Here's the hard truth. Most people spend their working years protecting their comfort and then spend their retirement years managing discomfort. A small group flips this. They accept mild discomfort early to buy deep comfort later. That's the real trade. Now let's make this practical. If you're early in your career, your goal isn't to be perfect. Your goal is to start. Any amount, any system, any consistency. Starting small beats, not starting at all. If you're mid-career, your goal is to close the gap between intention and action. Stop waiting for the perfect financial situation. It doesn't arrive. You create it. If you're later in your career, your goal is to maximize what's left. More saving, longer working if possible, more realistic lifestyle planning. None of these are punishments. They are choices that create control. One of the biggest mental shifts you can make. Stop thinking of saving as losing money and start thinking of it as buying future freedom. You're not giving something up. You're purchasing options. Options to live where you want. Options to handle emergencies. Options to rest without fear. Here's what quietly destroys retirement plans. Lifestyle inflation that feels deserved. Short-term thinking that feels justified. Delaying action that feels harmless. None of these feel like sabotage, but together, they quietly drain your future. Here's what quietly builds strong retirements. Boring consistency. Small increases over time. Staying invested. Not panicking. Not cashing out. Not giving up. The people who end up okay are not the people who were perfect. They are the people who didn't quit on their future selves. If this video makes you uncomfortable, that's not a bad sign. That's awareness waking up. Discomfort is often the moment right before change. You don't need to change everything today. You need to change one thing today. One automatic transfer. One small increase. One expense redirected. One decision made for future you. Future you is going to live inside the consequences of today you. That's not pressure. That's power. Because it means you still have influence over how your future feels. Retirement is not an ending. It's the lifestyle your habits create. And habits can be redesigned. Let's bring this home in a grounded way. Most people think financial freedom in retirement looks dramatic. Big houses, travel every month, luxury. For most people, freedom looks simpler. It looks like sleeping well at night. Because money is not the first thought in the morning. It looks like being able to say yes to a family dinner without checking your bank balance first. It looks like handling a problem without panic. That's the level of comfort most people actually want. Not luxury, stability. The tragedy is that stability is achievable for far more people than the number of people who actually achieve it. Not because it's impossible, but because it's invisible while you're building it. No one claps for consistent saving. No one celebrates boring discipline. No one notices long-term planning. But decades later, the difference becomes painfully visible. Two people can live similar lives, earn similar incomes, and end up in completely different places. One feels calm in retirement. The other feels constrained, not because of luck, but because of patterns. Patterns feel small when you're living them. They feel huge when you're living with their results. There's a quiet moment many retirees experience. They look back and think, I didn't realize how fast time would pass. They don't regret the vacations. They don't regret the fun. They regret not protecting their future enough. Not because they wanted to be rich, but because they wanted to feel safe. Safety is underrated. Safety is what allows joy without fear, rest without guilt, generosity without stress. If you take one thing from this video, let it be this. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be consistent. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be intentional. You don't need to sacrifice your present. You need to protect your future. The version of you that will exist in 20 or 30 years is depending on the version of you that exists today. Not for perfection, just for effort. You won't notice the difference tomorrow. You won't notice it next month. You might not even notice it next year. But one day, you will sit in a quiet room, look at your numbers, and feel either relief or regret. That moment is being built right now, through small choices, through repeated habits, through the decisions you make when no one is watching. You don't accidentally create a secure retirement. You design it slowly, and you don't wake up unprepared by surprise. You arrive there one ordinary decision at a time. The default path leads to constant financial pressure. The intentional path leads to options. Both paths are built daily. The question isn't whether time will pass. It will. The question is, when time has passed, what kind of life will your habits have built for you? That future is already forming. Starting today before you close this video, pause for one honest moment. Not to feel bad, not to feel guilty, just to notice. Notice what your current habits are building. If nothing changed for the next 20 years, what kind of retirement would your life create? Not the retirement you hope for, the retirement your patterns are designing. Most people don't fail because they're careless. They fail because they assume time will wait. Time doesn't wait. It compounds. Every year you delay, the price of the same outcome goes up. What costs you effort today costs you sacrifice later. What costs you discipline now costs you anxiety later. This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to give you leverage. Because the moment you see the pattern, you can interrupt it. You don't have to rebuild your entire life. You just have to redirect one habit. Redirect one upgrade. Redirect one expense. Redirect one raise. Redirect one impulse purchase. Every redirection is a vote for future stability. Here's something most people underestimate. Your future self will not have more energy than you do now. They will not have more patience. They will not have more time. They will only have more consequences. Doing the hard thing now is a gift to the version of you that will exist later. And that version of you is very real. They will wake up in a real home, with real bills, with a real body that needs care, with real limits on energy. You are not saving for a concept. You are preparing a real human being who happens to be you. Most people spend their lives optimizing comfort and then wonder why the future feels tight. The people who feel okay in retirement optimize for margin. Margin in money. Margin in choices. Margin in peace of mind. Margin is created slowly, but it protects you instantly when life hits. You don't know what challenges your future will face, but you can choose to give yourself more room to handle them. That's what saving and investing really is. It's not about becoming rich. It's about not becoming trapped. If this message hit a nerve, that's good. That's awareness waking up. That's the moment where change becomes possible. You don't need motivation tomorrow. You need one small system today. One automated transfer. One contribution increase. One spending rule. One boundary with yourself. Make it small. Make it boring. Make it consistent. Because boring habits build powerful futures. You don't rise into a good retirement. You build into it quietly. And you don't fall into a difficult retirement by accident. You drift there through normal behavior. Your future is being shaped by ordinary days. Make one ordinary day different, and you begin changing where the path leads. This isn't about fear. It's about choice. And you still have it.